What's up everyone, how's it going? This is Waj. Hope you guys are all doing well. And for the past decade or so, I've been trying to recreate the perfect movie-going experience at home. And then back in 2005, I actually bought my first digital projector. It was the Viewsonic PX747-4K. It had a native resolution of 1024 by 768. Fast forward to 2018, Viewsonic just came out with the PX747. It has over 10 times the resolution as my old projector, twice the brightness, and God knows how much more contrast ratio. So we're going to actually take a look at this thing. I want to thank Viewsonic for giving me the opportunity to actually take a look at what a budget 4K projector even looks like, because just a couple of months ago, I didn't think that you can get this kind of picture quality at home for under $1,500. And by the way, the MSRP for my original projector was over $1,800. So let's see how far Viewsonic has come since then. Now, going over the main specs of the PX747, it is a DLP-based projector, so it has a digital micromirror built inside, and that has a native resolution of 3840 by 2160. And at the UHD resolution, it has a maximum refresh rate of up to 60 Hz, so it's actually pretty usable when it comes to 4K gaming or even watching sports. Now, importantly, Viewsonic offers two different versions of this projector. The one that we have over here is rated up to 3500. The 727 version of this projector is offered with 2200 lumens. So with the 3500 lumens, you're definitely going to be a little bit more versatile in projecting in different lighting situations with more or less ambient light. And if we turn on the highest lights in our dedicated theater space, you can see that the colors do wash out, but it's still fairly bright and things are still pretty well defined. Now, like most projectors, you can set up the lamp power level in a couple of different modes. Firstly, you have the normal mode, eco, as well as dynamic. Now, in normal mode, you're going to be basically pushing out the full luminosity, the full 3500 lumens, which is great, again, for situations where you're going to have a lot of ambient light and you want to be as bright as possible. If you switch to eco mode, you're going to have a number of different benefits. Firstly, the black levels are going to be a little bit deeper. The contrast ratio in terms of the dynamic front is going to be a little bit better, so it's rated up to 12,000 to 1. You're also going to significantly increase the lifespan of the lamp itself. So in normal mode, it's rated to around 4,000 hours, versus in eco mode, it's up to 15,000 hours. Additionally, you're going to notice that the noise level on the projector is almost half, since the fan doesn't have to run as fast in order to cool the lamp down, since we're running in eco mode. Lastly, in the dynamic mode, the projector is going to automatically adjust the brightness level and the noise level based on the ambient lighting conditions in your environment. Now, externally, you can see that the PX747 actually is pretty understated for the level of technology that we have built inside, and it's fairly compact. At the bottom of the unit, you're going to find your 3-point mounting points for any kind of ceiling mount. You also have 2 adjustable feet if you're going to mount this on a table for any kind of quick presentation like setup. In terms of inputs and outputs, you can see at the back that we have a couple of different options, not a whole lot, but in terms of audio, you have 3.5 millimeter inputs and outputs. You have an old-fashioned 15-pin D-sub connection if you're going to hook this up to an older laptop or PC. You also have an HDMI 1.4 base connection and an HDMI 2.0 connection right beside it, which is more important. It's fully compliant with HDCP 2.2, which is going to allow you to pipe in Ultra HD content out of a Blu-ray player, PlayStation 4 Pro, Xbox One X, or PC at that full 4K resolution at 60 Hz refresh rate. So this is probably the most important port in this whole entire projector. Continuing forward, you have a couple of different connections, such as a service USB RS232 and a USB output power connection that will supply 5 volts at 1.5 amps for a USB dongle or any kind of device you want to power directly from the projector, which is kind of cool, as well as a 12-volt trigger besides that, and a Kensington lock. Now, taking a look at the focal range of the lens itself, you're looking at around 15.5 millimeters to about 18.6 millimeters. So the zoom capabilities in order to adjust your actual screen size on this projector isn't tremendously large, but since this projector is specifically more of a home theater style unit, most people are going to be installing it at a specific throw distance, so it matches up perfectly with their existing projector screen. There'll be a link in the description down below for you to figure out and calculate the the exact throw distance based on the screen that you already have. Now, in terms of my particular setup, I mounted the projector onto my universal ceiling mount, really simple and straightforward there. And I'm simply using my existing 125-inch 16:9 screen that I actually made myself back in 2013. I actually published a tutorial video on the channel. It's pretty old, but check it out if you're interested in making your own display. And in terms of the image quality that I got with the PX747 is actually pretty darn remarkable. I've only been using 1080p based projectors for my home theater, and upgrading to 4K makes a tremendous amount of sense. Sometimes 4K is hard to justify when you're looking at small smartphone displays or even monitors or TVs, but here at 125-inch, it makes all the difference in the world. You can't really see any pixels, and since there's such great, excellent 4K content out there, it's really definitely a no-brainer. In terms of color rendition and dynamics, the black levels aren't as deep as what you're going to find in a more higher quality cinema grade projector, but definitely very, very feasible for most people out there, and the color rendition and overall accuracy is actually pretty good as well, especially if you're going to use it in eco mode in a darkly lit, pretty much pitch black environment. You're going to find the best contrast ratio and the best color rendition. The big star of the show definitely has to be that 4K resolution at 60 hertz. I'm playing Fortnite over here, and I can see every little tiny piece of detail. I'm running at full ultra details, and it is a remarkable experience that pretty much everybody has to try. 4K gaming on this thing is a revolutionary experience, and although it probably doesn't have the fastest refresh rate and the fastest overall response time and everything like that, I think it's still fairly usable for most of your casual gamers out there, and especially if you want kind of a bigger than life experience playing your favorite games, whether it be on the PC that I'm using right now, PlayStation 4 Pro, or Xbox One X. So gaming on this thing is certainly an awesome experience that I would recommend to pretty much everybody out there. Now, some of the other things I want to talk about is that I remember back in the day, the old DLP technology used to have kind of a bad rap for losing image quality as the years would go on. I remember getting an old DLP TV, and when it turned about 2 or 3 years old, I would notice that the brightness and the overall contrast ratio and dynamic range would be significantly less compared to the newer ones that were on the shelves in the store. And one of the reasons for that is the actual digital micro mirrors would tend to degrade over time, since there's a little bit of moving part action going on. And with today, Viewsonic says that their current technology for the digital micro mirror devices are a lot more better, going to be a lot more reliable, and you won't have the degradation of the image quality as you go through the years. This, of course, can only be tested through practical applications, so I'm going to see how the image kind of holds up on the PX747 as the years go on. Now, if you were to ask me if there's any downsides to the PX747, I would say generally no. It's going to be definitely superior than anything from a 1080p perspective, and even your 1080p content has the opportunity to be upscaled and look a little bit more defined. Viewsonic also has this super resolution adjustment meter where you can add a little bit of sharpness so it kind of looks a little bit more defined, even if you're not pumping in 4K content all the time. And these days 4K content is so available out there. Streaming 4K is still a little bit challenging, and television is still very difficult to find in 4K, but the internet, YouTube, is filled with 4K content, and the HDR 4K Blu-ray library is growing pretty rapidly as well. So there's definitely no shortage of content in 2018 going forward. Now, the experience, as I mentioned before, with the 60 hertz refresh rate and the full native 4K, it's actually going to be superior than most of your cinema professional level experiences. In most cases, if you go to 99% of commercial theaters out there, Cineplex or what have you, they're going to be displaying around quad HD resolution at 24 frames per second or so, depending upon, again, which theater that you're going to. IMAX is obviously a different story. They're using different digital projectors. But when it comes to the standard cinema experience, you're actually technically superior getting the 747 over here. You have a native resolution that's much higher, and even the color depth information is actually pretty good. Maybe the black levels are going to be better on some of the Xeon base projectors that you're going to find out there, but it's still pretty darn darn incredible. For under $1,500, you can get a experience that in some cases surpasses the commercial movie-going experience. So definitely pretty amazing stuff. I want to give a big shout out to Viewsonic for making this video possible, for teaming up with me to bring you guys this content. There's going to be some extra stuff coming out later on in the future on this projector, so definitely stay tuned. Love to hear your thoughts and opinions, and check out the description down below for all the detailed information about everything we talked about. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for your support. See you later. Take care.